Happy Monday. Happy February.
It's February already?
It is. 벌써 2월 1일입니다.
I'm excited and exhausted all at the same time.
At the same time. 맞아요. But it's still good to have you. I'm wondering if you had any certificates to get. I mean, all I know is you have many hats, but one of them is being a chef.
Yeah, well, you know what they say about the man who wears many hats? He must not like his haircut. Yeah, so I don't have a 요리 자격증, so to speak,
진짜요?
because I didn't receive my chef's training here in Korea.
Oh.
But I do have a bachelor's degree from I guess I can't even say the name of my school. From a school.
I see.
Let's put it this way. It won a blue ribbon.
Oh, did it? Well,
yeah.
there you go.
But my wife actually made it her New Year's resolution this year to get her 제빵 and 제과, her baking 자격증.
Oh.
Even though she's not necessarily looking to open up a shop anytime soon. It's just one of those things. I think it's again, just keep it in your back pocket for a rainy day.
Sure.
If everything goes south, at least we could, sell buns out the back of some door somewhere.
자격은 진짜 it'll help you with anything to getting a certificate.
Oh, apparently I can say the name of the school. It's our producers just put it on the board. Say it.
Say the name of the school loud and proud.
Now I feel weird about it.
No.
I don't want to. So I got my bachelor's degree from Le Cordon Bleu.
Le Cordon Bleu.
That's right.
The
And
culinary school.
Yeah, that's right. The famous radio culinary school.
Yeah.
That's what landed me here.
Yeah, and it landed you right in the studio as we talk about fancy things.
Yes, we talked about 가성비 좋은 음식 last week, budget-friendly, cheap eats. This week is all about the fancy things in life.
정반대로. Last week all about the budget. 예산 안에 뭘 먹을 수 있는 그런 음식. Probably good for the solo eaters at home.
That's
But
right.
even if you are a solo eater, 혼자여도 조금, fancy하게
There is no reason why you can't just treat yourself. And it's especially nowadays where you can get so many great ingredients online. If you'd like, you could totally eat a lot of these foods at home. But so if you notice on your script, the first part that I wanted to do for today's episode just says guess the price. And your script is left blank because you don't know what I'm about to ask you. So this is all completely unscripted.
Right.
We are, without a safety net here.
Okay, well, before we begin, we do want to give out our quiz. Our question of the day, shall we say. 여러분이 최근 드셔본 가장 비싼 음식은 뭘까요? 사진 있으면 또 같이 보내주세요. The most expensive, extravagant meal that you've had in recent days. 샵 1013으로 단문 50원, 장문 100원 유료 문자 보내주시면 추첨을 통해서 커피 쿠폰 드리겠습니다. 아주 비싼.
Well, if we're talking about things that are expensive that you ate, I accidentally swallowed a little bit of printer ink once. That might be the most expensive substance known on man. But we're going to be talking about actually foods you can actually eat today, and I want you to guess the price of these ingredients. Okay, so we're going to start off easy, one that you might know. I think this is. If you're living in Korea, you might come across the pricing of this quite often.
This is like The Price is Right. Do I get price가 있나요?
Yes.
Like I usually get the price of the goods.
Yes. The check is in the mail.
Okay.
All right. So the first one, 한우 1++ 등심.
Oh,
How much does it cost per kilogram?
Per kilogram. I have no idea. 한우는 한 번 먹었거든요, and it was on sale. Per kilogram, I would say. Per kilogram, that's huge.
Yeah, because they normally sell it by the 100 gram. If you go to a restaurant or if you go into a shop and you're buying, especially the more expensive cuts of meat,
right.
They normally price it per 100 grams.
1kg이기 때문에 I don't know, like no. 20만 원. I'll go 20만 원.
Oh, okay. You overshot it just a little bit, but you're not far off. The prices can range anywhere from 14만 원 to 17만 원, depending on time of the year.
우리 PD님께서는 15만 원을 맞췄는데요.
There we
You
go.
can't play the game. There's no prize. There's no 100 prize.
At least he didn't pull like a 20만 천 원.
That's right.
He didn't pull one of those moves. All right, we'll move over to the sweet side of the things. Shine muscat.
Shine muscat. So muscat grapes?
Yeah, muscat. Oh, have you had these? Have you heard about these?
Yes.
Yeah, they're the ones that they look like jewels. They're they're these enormous plump green grapes. And they had a moment 2 years ago when they really kind of made a splash on the scene. That was the year where you could really find them. And that's when prices were really insane. But like nowadays, how much does a kilogram of shine muscat cost?
Shine muscat, and we're talking about just the grape itself?
Just the grape itself.
A kilogram. 요즘
kilogram.
설날이기 때문에 조금 비쌀 수도 있기 때문에 I'd say a kilogram. That's heavy too. 23,000원?
About 35,000원.
Oh.
Yeah, it's and this is also much cheaper than what it used to be. Back when it was first introduced to the market, you could only find them in 백화점.
Oh,
and there,
yes.
I would say is probably about like at that point like 35,000원 per bunch.
Right,
and like
right,
there's like
right.
now, I think you can get like 2 to 3 bunches of grapes in a kilogram.
Yeah.
All right. Last one before we move on to our topics. 생물 전복. 생물 전복. So not frozen.
Okay.
Not processed. 생물,
Fresh?
so fresh, alive, still sticking to the side of the tank.
Abalone.
Abalone.
전복이면 what was it 한 개당 or
한 개당. Let's go with 한 개당.
Okay. Oof, I don't know. Still would think 5,000원?
Think more like 만원.
Okay.
Like when you're talking about the top quality, like the bigger ones.
I see.
Sometimes you can get 전복 the size of your hand, maybe not quite that large, but when
Right.
you're talking about the prime specimen of like 생물 전복, they can be up to 만원 per.
그래요. Yeah, I guess I just don't want to spend that much. I'm just lowballing everything.
Oh, no, absolutely. No, for me, I think, once in a while I'll splurge, but I think I'm more of a quantity over quality
Yeah,
sort of guy.
sure. I'm not sure about you guys. Getting in a message about the most expensive dishes and meals. 0089님께서는 아니죠. 2252님께서는 베이징 덕이요. 데이트하러 갔지요.
북경오리.
Yes. Oh, that's my favorite.
So it's dinner and a show. That's
그쵸.
one of the best parts about it.
그것도 약간 10만 원 정도 되죠.
맞아요. And then you get a lot that comes with it too. Most of the times this also can be part of a course meal.
Right.
And yeah, it's always a good time.
Sure. 0089님께서는 노르웨이 북부 청지역에서 잡은 연어래요. 새벽 배송으로 이른 아침 싱싱한 연애회 진짜 맛있더라고요. 이렇게만 먹으면 언제 앵길 지수? 그거 뭐죠? 앵길 지수 높으려나요? 라고 보냈는데요. That's incredible.
Yeah.
That's some thick slices of salmon.
Yeah, that right there. I'm really regretting not having dinner before starting tonight's show.
That's a bad habit as
It
well.
really
You
is.
gotta
It really is.
Eat some good food. All right. Well, let's take a look at some fancy food that we prepared. I think for me, lots of beverages are really expensive.
Yes.
그렇죠? 저도 한 100만 원 meal을 한번 먹어봤는데요. 사실 it was a course meal.
Right.
And really half of it was the wine.
Right, absolutely. Yeah, no. Sometimes the wines that you can get. I mean, you're talking about down payment on a house.
Yeah.
When it comes to the price of some of these bottles.
Sure. I mean, coffee can be expensive at hotels, teas, kombucha these days.
Yeah, and I think one thing that really gets very, very expensive, especially when you go to the high-end ones, are actually a thing that we mentioned in our budget episode, and that's buffets.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think buffets, there aren't that many right in the middle, right? They're either like very value driven, great pricing, or they're extremely over the top luxurious, and they're also extremely expensive as well.
And 큰 차이가 나죠, 진짜로.
나죠.
So if you go to the budget ones, you have, some bits and pieces of meat and chicken.
Yeah, but a lot of it is kind of like this, same banchan that you might find at home,
Right.
and you'll find a lot of fillers there. But when you go to especially like the hotel and like the casino buffets, where nowadays, they can be up to like 15만 원, 20만 원.
I know.
If you see some of these buffets in Vegas, it's absolutely mind-boggling. Like I haven't been to a buffet. I haven't in like one of those buffets in a while, and I saw some photos. I've never been to a buffet like this. Like just the types of food that they're serving. It wasn't just like it wasn't even just things like steak and lobster that your average. They were serving entire restaurant dishes, composed dishes. Just en masse.
Right. 미국 같은 경우에는 진짜 스케일이 다르죠. And of course, because it's Vegas.
Yeah, but the hotels here in Korea aren't far behind. The top 5-star hotels here do have some incredible buffets.
Yes, that's right. Some have even baristas there, and so they'll serve you your, drinks of choice, your coffees, your lattes. 직접 만들어 주시니까 그 값을 하게 되더라고요.
Do you prefer buffets or do you prefer like a sit-down course dinner?
I think I like a course dinner more than yeah. But we've got lots to talk about, so let's get through this. One of my favorite is if I go to the buffets is the crab.
Yes. Now I have to ask you this though. What is your favorite kind of crab?
King crab.
King crab. Ah, good choice. Very, very good.
롱다리, 큰 다리, 두꺼운 다리.
King crab. They just have such thick, meaty meat in
Really
there.
does.
Yeah, I love 꽃게. I think I'll always have a soft spot for 꽃게 in my heart. But if you've never had the two, 꽃게 has flesh that's a lot flakier, right?
Right.
And you have to really work for it. Yeah. But with king crab, you just crack it open and you can just pull it all out. And you just have this very satisfying big mouthful of crab meat right there.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, we're getting in more messages. We're getting in some tomahawk steak.
Ooh.
3780님께서는 최근에 먹었던 음식 중 가장 비쌌던 음식은 토마호크 스테이크입니다. 일반적인 소고기 스테이크가 아닌 돼지고기 스테이크인데요. 소고기 못지않게 매우 맛있습니다.
Yeah, I think it looks like it's a pork chop, so it's like a rib chop. It has the bone still attached there. That looks incredible.
That's right. Oh, 돈마호크. Instead of tomahawk.
Yeah,
That's
돈마호크.
good. 가격은 25,000원 정도 했었던 것 같아요. 라고 보냈는데요. That's some good, thick slice of meat. 7285 says a client sent my team a box of Totori Wagyu beef from Japan when I was staying in Osaka. Incredible, tasty beef with truffles. Still enjoy my backyard ribeye better back in the States, but good experience.
Yeah, I think receiving a gift of meat is always puts you in a good mood, which is why we do it here in Korea. I feel like this is something that we should export to the rest of the world, the culture of giving meat as a gift.
That's right. It's quite expensive. 근데 설날이 오기 때문에
Sure.
많은 분들이 특히나, as we mentioned, the 한우.
I think that's what my wife's parents, I think that's what ultimately led them to me convincing them to let me marry their daughter.
Oh, really?
Is that I, gifted them beef several times. Like, okay, you know what? You're not a bad dude.
Way to win your in-laws. 8789님, 돈마호크 보내주신 분. 커피 쿠폰 드리겠습니다. 3780. All right, well, let's get through this list one more time.
Yeah, so we mentioned crab just a little while ago, and then now as well, like 바닷가재. So lobster is also having a moment as well.
Right.
I think so lobsters really started becoming big a few years ago. I mean, it was always here, but once Korean Air was starting to fly in fresh lobsters from Canada about 5 years ago, that's when the availability of lobsters really started to take off here.
Wow.
And so you can get really incredible fresh live lobsters. They all rode first class. They all got they all got hot towels and eye masks for the flight over. So yeah, very pampered lobsters here.
Well taken care of.
Right. And so they were always kind of eaten in a Western sort of way. But nowadays you're starting to see more and more served in 수산시장.
이제 명동 길거리에 가서도 이 lobster.
Yeah, lobster
구이 있어요.
as was a street food. 한국인은 정말 정도를 모르는 친구입니다.
Yeah. Now, for me, I'm more of a butter on top. Just kind of melt that on there.
You might then you could maybe try attempting a fusion of sorts. Because remember a few weeks ago, we talked about 게장.
Right.
So you can also make 랍스타장 as well.
Yeah, you talked about
So
that.
랍스타장, and then you eat that with butter rice.
Oh my gosh.
I
기가
think we just came up with a winner right
We
here.
did, yeah.
And caviar is also having a moment. But I think, have you ever had the Korean equivalent of caviar, 어란?
명란, maybe?
You've had 명란, but 어란.
What's 어란?
So 어란 is where you take the entire fish sack and you dry it, basically.
Okay.
And you slice it. And as it dries, you keep 발라ing like 참기름 on it. And it turns into almost like charcuterie. Okay. It's like this thick, salty, very, very like savory thing that you just eat little pieces of as anju. It's also very, very pricey as well. Yeah. Korean caviar.
Yeah, I mean, these are new dishes that I've never heard before.
Yeah, well,
I mean, the more foreign they sound, the more expensive they seem, don't they? Another one here is 초밥.
Chobap. Yes.
회. Any raw fish?
Yeah, any type of raw fish was, I think, because part of it has to do with the fact that a lot of the best fish are seasonal. So they're only
Sure.
available for a short period of the year.
Right.
And then I think a lot of it, too, also goes with the fact that, you just get such a variety of it as well.
Yeah. I mean, my goodness. 9001님께서는 most expensive 도시락 recently. Sushi 도시락. 도시락 for me mostly very reasonable price thing, but this sushi 도시락 was kind of flex. 도시락 flex이네요. 진짜 사진 보니까. What is that like? Says 12 pieces plus sea urchin. Wow, that's incredible.
Do you like sea urchin 성게알?
Yes, certain places do it well. I have to be careful. 그러니까 다 먹는 게 아니라 진짜 고급된 식당에서 먹으면 조금 더 소화될 수 있어요.
Sure. Yeah, sometimes it can be very creamy, very light, and other times you get kind of that iodine flavor of it. But I think for me, it's always the texture of it that I enjoy so much.
Yeah, but nowadays people put like sea urchin with pasta and that kind of stuff will blow my mind.
I mean, creamy and creamy will always go well together.
Right. Oh, 정말 맛있네요.
Yeah, was it? What do you think about? What do you think about pork? Do you like blowfish, puffer fish?
I've never had.
Oh, it's an experience.
Is it?
It is an experience. So the fish itself is actually quite mild. So when you go for pogyori, usually it's it's a course menu, and so you'll be served the fish in a variety of different ways. You'll have it raw as 회, and it's very mild. It's kind of like it's a mild white lean fish, but it's the skin that's actually really interesting.
Okay.
So the puffer fish is a toxic fish, but if prepared correctly, you can eat the skin.
Yeah, right.
And the skin makes your lips and mouth tingle.
Oh, and that's okay?
It's okay. I think so. If I had it years ago, so if it's gonna kill me, it's very slow acting poison.
Right.
Yeah.
Would have done it when I ate it. Yeah, I've heard that the blowfish is kind of like you can't have a certain part of the fish, but then here in Korea we have signs all over where people just go inside the restaurants. I think I might have had it in a like Chinese style when the fish is actually still moving, or maybe that's a different fish. But
that might have attacked you otherwise.
yeah, that's right. There's lots of other seafood as well.
And then we also have, the toms? I think 옥돔 and 도미 are also the breams. So both of them are varieties of sea bream. Have you had 옥돔?
I don't think so. I'm not a big seafood fan, I should say.
This one might change your mind. 옥돔,
Really?
I think, is one of those fish that a lot of people, even who don't even like fish, like it. Most of the times you have it as kui. And it's just so meaty smelling. Like it doesn't... it smells like fish because it is a fish.
Right.
But when it's so fatty, and when you roast it and you grill it, it gets this like great smoky, crispy scent to it. Like that 돈마혹 steak that we just saw.
Where do you have these?
제주도. Jeju-do is where the best 옥돔 is caught and found. So it's a half-dried black sea bream.
Okay.
And so it's very salty and has that great crisp to it, but it's also still juicy because it's only half dried.
제주도까지 가고 싶으면 이게 비행기표까지 포함이 되니까.
If you depending on where you eat it, it actually literally might be cheaper to fly to Jeju-do to have it. Back when I was working at a hotel, we had a casino that was also attached to our hotel, and so we would get customers who would order 굴비 and 옥돔.
How much would it be?
About 20만 원 per fish. Just for that. But they wouldn't eat it.
Oh my, why?
Because it's good luck to have like a golden fish by your side when you're at a casino table.
What?
They would not eat it. They would order an 20만 원짜리 fish and just let it sit there.
Just for luck.
I think just as a flex is honestly what it was.
Sure, yeah. Well, my goodness, lots of things. I mean, last Friday we talked about 가상 여행 to Jeju-do, and it was like $12 for a flight to head over. So yeah, as you said.
Yeah, it might literally be cheaper.
Let's move on to some some interesting vegetables or roots or fungus.
Do you like 송이버섯?
I love 송이버섯.
송이버섯 is so good. So they're pine mushrooms.
You're right.
And they can also become incredibly expensive when you buy them by the box. If you buy them by the box at the height of the season, well over 10만 원 for a kilogram.
Right.
Yeah, but they're so good because they're very fragrant.
And
right?
actually, some mushrooms are really meaty.
They are.
진짜 고기 맛이 나요.
It really does. But here's something that you can do. If you like the taste of 송이버섯, but you aren't a billionaire, and so you can't have it all the time. One thing that we do is we buy 참송이버섯, which is like a varietal of 송이버섯, which are also generally tend to be very expensive. But what you can do is you can buy online. You can buy the ugly ones, the ones that aren't like department store ready. They're not long and slender, and you can get them at a fraction of the price.
Well, there you go. I mean, if you are just wanting to flex this weekend or this week or whenever you got some money saved up, why not head over to get some buffets, food, 송이버섯, some other seafood, maybe take some pictures and share with us. Well, thank you very much for being on the show, Matt.
Always a pleasure.
Hope you have a great week. We'll have to see you next week.